The editor-in-chief of LifeSet, Fox News contributor, nationally syndicated talk show host, radio talk show host Laura Ingraham. All right, let's first start with, I want to ask a legal question because I had a couple of friends of mine that are lawyers. If you have a picture of a president's severed head, like you're an ISIS fighter, and you just beheaded him, could that be interpreted as a threat against the president?
In theory, I guess, but in practice, no. And I think the reason not is that you would try to discern the intent of what Kathy Griffin was trying to do, and she was intending to get publicity for herself, which she's certainly gotten. She's intended to raise her profile and be outrageous, and she said funny, although nothing about it is funny. So I think that's a stretch. I mean, you could really stretch it and say, well, the image itself in the photo shoot itself was meant to incite further violence. But again, as a legal matter, I think that would be pretty difficult to prove. It doesn't take anything away from the fact that it is hideous and depraved and a degenerate approach to entertainment, and meant to shock and also meant to dehumanize, Sean. I think a lot of what Hollywood does to conservatives is the opposite of real engaged debate. There's no debate. There's no substantive back and forth because they usually lose that. But they want to dehumanize him. So he's not even entitled to the basic respect of the presidency. He's subhuman in their eyes. And she was carrying that understanding out in that bizarre and disgusting photo shoot.
All right, so TMZ reports that Barron Trump saw this. Any 11-year-old kid is going to be upset by it. But the left's silence, I mean, they claim that they have a monopoly of compassion on gays, lesbians, women's rights, and they always accuse Republicans of being racist and sexist. How do they stay silent when the First Lady has been attacked, as she has, Ivanka, as she has? By the way, you and Kellyanne, as you have both been. Lara Trump was going to join us later. How do they justify never standing up for you guys or never standing up for my right to free speech when they're the champions of free speech?
Well, because they're not true feminists. I mean, they cloak themselves in the feminist garb, but in reality, they're just either socialist, leftist, Marxist, and their goal is just to grow the government. They don't trust the people. The individual people who turned out in droves in Michigan and Wisconsin, Ohio, Pennsylvania to vote for Trump, they're subhuman too. I mean, they really aren't either entitled to determine their own destiny, their own understanding of marriage, their own understanding of when life begins. The very fact that they voted for Trump, in the eyes of a lot of these people from the entertainment industry and certainly from far left politics, their very existence is a point of embarrassment. So rather than engage people on a real conversation, they seek to perpetually and merely dehumanize them and debase them to the extent that you don't even have to treat them as human beings. And that goes for the sons and daughters of Donald Trump. Suddenly, the left cares about the poor transgender kid who can't use the bathroom that he or she wants to use. Okay, that's their point. But the child of a conservative who's treated this way, they don't even deserve that.
You know what's a great... If any conservative had attacked Malia and Sasha that way, and God forbid they ever would,
never work again.
And that also gets to, or if any conservative woman that was running for president took money from Sharia countries that abuse women, gays, lesbians, Christians, and Jews, and they claim that they have the monopoly of compassion for these groups. Same with freedom of speech. You and I have watched.
Yeah.
We have watched a lot of our colleagues, Alinsky-like tactics, isolated, targeted, and hurt by so-called free speech liberals.
You know what I will say, though, Sean, on this, though? You know what I'll say? It's going back to 2002 when Harry Belafonte was going after Colin Powell as the house slave, and all the horrible things they said about Condi Rice. And it goes on and on and on. What they said about Rush Limbaugh, remember the Chris Matthews line about that? I don't think that's gotten them very far. I really don't. I think most reasonable people see these tactics as tactics of utter
Hey, Laura,
desperation.
conservatives
They're
gotten
diabolical.
fired because of conservatives have gotten fired, and shows have been damaged significantly because of these organized attacks because they don't like what people say.
Conservatives have to do the same thing in response. We can sit around and whine and moan about how unfair this is, and it is. It's gross. It's awful. But until people start standing up and say, you know something, I don't tolerate what you're doing. I don't agree with it, and I'm actually not going to buy your products. I'm not going to support, your economic partners or your business partners. I'm not going to do it. Money does talk at some point.
All right, Laura Ingraham, as always, thank you for being with us.